On April 21st, 2023, at 10 p.m., the Mesquite Police Department received a 911 call from the 3700 block of Nabholtz Lane in Mesquite, advising there was a male in the street with no shirt on. The subject was carrying what the caller described to be a rifle and advised the subject pointed the weapon at the caller.
But now when I come home, on my, pulling in on our street, he is sitting in the middle of the road with his shirt off with, I don't know what it is, a rifle, a BB gun, a pellet gun, something. And as soon as I come on the street, he is pointing it directly at my car.
And is he out there now?
Yeah, I would assume so. I am going through the backyard in my alleyway to get inside my house, and I do have my weapon on me, but I do not want, this. I'm assuming he's an older gentleman, and there's something mentally wrong with him.
While on the phone with Mesquite Dispatch, the caller stated that the subject with the firearm went back inside his home. Mesquite police officers arrived on scene and observed the subject exit his residence with a shotgun in his hands. Officers gave commands to the subject, who closed the door and went back into his home. Officers on scene then heard multiple sounds of gunfire from inside the residence. A round was fired out of a window in the direction of officers outside the residence. The Mesquite Police Department Tactical Team and Crisis Negotiations Team were requested and responded to the scene. Over the next several minutes, the subject inside the residence continued looking at officers through a back window while holding his shotgun. At 10:45 p.m., Mesquite Police Tactical Team members began arriving, as well as the armored vehicle that was parked in front of the residence. A long-range acoustic device, also called an LRAD, was attached to the armored vehicle. Members of the Crisis Negotiations Team used this system for the next several hours in attempts to make contact with the individual inside the home and in the conflict safely and peacefully for everyone involved. Repeated commands were made to come to the front door with his hands up and empty. Throughout the night, the individual inside the residence made no attempts to communicate with officers. Family members were able to provide officers with a cell phone number for the subject inside, and several requests were made through the LRAD for him to turn on his phone to talk with officers, but he did not turn it on to communicate. The subject would turn on and off the rear lights of the residence, and movement was seen at the rear bedroom of the residence several times throughout the night. At 3:25 a.m., a search and arrest warrant were both obtained for the residence and the subject inside. The arrest warrants included charges for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and discharging a firearm in certain municipalities. At 3:33 a.m., the Mesquite Police Tactical Team deployed 2 diversion devices, also known as flashbangs, at the front and rear of the residence. Crisis negotiators continued calling to the subject inside on the LRAD, advising him to exit the residence. At 3:41 a.m., a 37mm less lethal Baton round was deployed through the bedroom window of the subject's bedroom in an attempt to gain his attention and engage in communication with crisis negotiators. At 3:42 a.m., 5 hours and 42 minutes after the original call, the subject inside opened the front door of the residence. The tactical team member in the turret of the armored vehicle began providing commands to the subject to exit with his hands up and nothing in them. The view of the body-worn camera of the team member in the turret is obstructed by the turret, which is providing armor to the team member.
Contact at the front door. Put your hands up and walk to the front door. Have nothing in your hands. Put your hands up. Put your hands up and walk out towards my voice. Put your hands up and walk towards me. Put your hands up. I can't see through there.
The tactical team member views on the ground were obstructed by vehicles in the driveway and large shrubs and landscaping in front of the home. The tactical team member in the turret had an elevated view with a downward angle towards the front door, providing more information through the thick landscaping than the members on the ground. The tactical team member in the turret was able to identify that the subject at the door was holding something in his hands. When the team member in the turret identified that the subject was pointing the shotgun at the armored vehicle and the tactical team, the team member in the turret fired 1 round, striking the suspect. A follow-up sight picture from the team member in the turret showed that although struck, the individual was still attempting to manipulate and point the weapon in the direction of the tactical team, at which time a second shot was fired and struck the individual.
He's got something in his hands.
He got something in his hands? Yeah, that's all. Hey, back to the barricade. Bring him to the back.
I can't see through the tree. He's got something in his hands.
Okay, great.
Walk toward us! Where's our negotiators?
Contact. He's got a shotgun. I can't see. Can't see. Lost visual.
In-car video from the squad car parked in front of the armored vehicle captured video from the doorway of the residence. In this footage, you can see the barrel of the shotgun pointed out of the front door of the home towards officers at the armored vehicle, shortly followed by the shots from the team member in the turret.
Shots fired.
Now let's review both videos together at length.
He's got something in his hands.
He had something in his hands.
Yeah, that's all. Hey, back to the barricade. Bring him back.
I can't see through the tree. He's got something in his hands.
Okay, great.
Walk toward us! Where's our negotiators?
Contact. He's got a shotgun. I can't see. Can't see. Lost visual.
Officers continued providing commands to the subject verbally and through the LRAD after he was struck by gunfire. An ambulance was immediately dispatched to the scene, and a Mesquite Fire Department paramedic was on scene with the tactical team. After no response from the individual, team members approached and began performing life-saving measures on the subject. Team members and paramedics applied 2 chest seals and began CPR. The subject was transported by a Mesquite Fire Department ambulance to Baylor, Dallas, where he was pronounced deceased at 4:26 a.m. Investigators later recovered footage from the area of the subject walking in the street while carrying the firearm. The subject was identified as Jaime Reyes Hurtado, a 64-year-old male from Mesquite. Investigators recovered a single-barrel Harrington and Richardson shotgun on the front porch of the residence that Hurtado had been displaying throughout the night. The officer involved is a 9-year veteran of the Mesquite Police Department. The officer fired 2 rounds from a Colt .223 rifle.